Welcome, everyone. This is Jim Spohrer and Vaishali, Maine, and we're doing our ISSIP quarterly welcome for new participants. Um, this is something we do every 3 months it's an optional ISSIP meeting. We like to have people know each other face to face, so we do these. And the format that we typically take is we call it Give, Get, Grow. And each of us gets a chance to talk about what we plan to give to ISSIP and the community, what we hope to get, and how we hope to grow. And um, I'll go first. And I typically, these days, I've been retired from IBM for 3 years, so I have a PhD in computer science and AI from Yale back in the 80s. So I'm big on using AI to automate and augment the various processes of ISSIP these days. Um, and of course, the focus is on building a community that does knowledge sharing. What I get since I'm retired is I do get to enjoy watching the careers of various people unfold. And I often tell the story of 10 years ago when we started ISSIP. I remember some students we were working with, and now some of them are like vice presidents of HR at a space company or all over the place. So that's really enjoyable to me. And how I hope to grow is I'm about to turn 70 in January, and I'm building an AI digital version of myself. So that's a fun project to keep me busy. Um, when we survey people in the ISSIP community, the number one thing they say they're trying to do is grow their professional network. And we have all the way from students to professionals to executives at big companies and our leadership, certainly. But we also have retirees like myself. Mostly what they want to give is their time, enthusiasm, and expertise on collaborative projects. It's amazing how many ideas and project ideas people have, and they're just looking who else is interested in this type of innovation, and are you willing to work with me on it? And we also find that the professional recognition that we give at ISSIP, we have ISSIP badges and digital certifications and certificates that we give out. And that's also important to people in their career. We have like an annual excellence award and do press releases around that. So those are important. And when I mentioned knowledge sharing, this came up in the morning quarterly welcome. Uh, there's big interest in our business expert press collaboration books. Many people in the ISSIP community have created their first book as part of the ISSIP community, and we have two collections, one on service systems innovation. And these are actually hyperlinks that go out to the website, so you can see. I think we've got hundreds, well over 100 books now in our various collections. We've also got a collaborative intelligence collection that has a lot of books in it as well. And many of these books, they're the authors, this is their first book. And so we provide support for that. There was also a question of, do we ever do things in person? And the answer is yes, but what we do at ISSIP, we don't have a big annual ISSIP conference, but what we do is support our members have conferences like upcoming in Dallas. There's this Service Design Global Conference, and there's many other conferences as well that we support over the years. I could only find this link to our 2024 upcoming conferences, but these are some of the conferences that we support every year, and they're ongoing, and oftentimes our ISSIP participants are leading these conferences. So that is my quick introduction, and what we plan to do is show like a 3-minute video of our executive director sort of giving an overview of ISSIP. Then I'll ask Vaishali Main to introduce herself, and then Michael will ask you to introduce yourself, and Hemant and anybody else that has joined us. So let me go ahead and just play this. It's only a couple minutes, this video that Michele created.
Hello and welcome to ISSIP, the International Society of Service Innovation.
Jim, sorry, we lost the voice.
Say what?
Engage with ISSIP.
Now we have the voice, yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Help us stay free and benefit our interconnected world. We are a global community of a little over 2,000 individuals now in 1,000 organizations, all lifelong learners committed to, as you see underneath here, advancing innovation to benefit people and business and society. We do that through, with a volunteer leadership team and a bevy of programs. If you go to ISSIP.org, our website, and on who we are leadership page, you'll see on our board, our executive committee of the board, our strategy council, and the basic volunteer teams running the programs are representative of the very large industry companies, from MasterCard, IBM, Cisco, Amazon, to small to medium enterprises as well. Industry, academia, NGO, and government entities. We are, as I say, volunteer managed and operated. Every year we elect a president and a vice president. We have a single part-time executive director employee, and all the programs are led by volunteers who help recruit and manage, motivate, inspire, and connect with volunteer teams. And as I say, all committed to lifelong learning. That's what it's all about. How might you engage? If you go to ISSIP.org, you'll see a programs tab on the top left. And each of these programs are regular awards and recognition and credentials, our academic industry collaboration, the AI Collab, our ambassadors program, publishing, there's free support for publishing your own, writing, publishing a book, a chapter, white papers, conference papers, and the Mighty Me program for assessing and developing and improving your T-shape. More on the website about each of these programs, who leads it, and how you can get involved, which we would love to see. Bottom line is, at ISSIP, you're gaining access to the experts and thought leaders, back to that at the bottom here, to the mentoring and connection with those world leaders, experts in service innovation. And we encourage you to think what it is you want to give, to get, and how you want to grow in global community, and leverage the ISSIP platform to build your knowledge, experience, and brand eminence in the space. So we value your thought, your time, your talent, and your treasure if you are able to donate. We are free to individuals. Many will donate, as you see here listed, this $250 annual donation as a professional association, which is reimbursable typically by your organizations. We ask that you check that, and we very much appreciate the support that sustains us. We are wholly funded by donations from individuals and from organizations. So we ask that you please do help us stay free by volunteering your time, your thought, your talent. And if you have an organization that might be interested in partnering, again, on that donate page are those levels of contribution and the benefits at each level. And I would be the person at this email you see here, executive director at ISSIP, to talk to about tailoring a partnership that works for you. Thanks and welcome.
Great, thank you, Michele. And let me figure out how to get out of this. I think I just hit the escape button. There we go. Back to the presentation. So we will post these slides with all the links, and probably the most important thing is to make sure you're members of the LinkedIn community here. But I've already introduced myself, so Vaishali goes next, and Vaishali has a book in, she's got multiple books, but she has one in our collaborative intelligence series called Give, Get, and Grow: The Power of Community. So Vaishali, thanks for contributing to our Business Expert Press book series and leading these quarterly welcomes. And if you could introduce yourself, that would be great.
Thank you, Jim. Hello, everyone, and thank you for taking the time to participate. We have these quarterly engagement welcome series where the group is usually small. We have it in the morning, and then we have another session in the evening here. So we try to bring people together and we all discuss under the theme of give, get, grow. I know that you may not have come prepared with that, but it's just that what is that as an individual we want to give it to the community. There's always something that everyone has. It could be even something really small, but anything good, it always makes a difference no matter what the size of that goodness is. It's always welcome. So as part of that, I just think it's important with so many things happening around us, and it's important to listen because everyone is talking, everyone is telling, everyone is informing, and there's so much information, chaos we can say everywhere. So I take the privilege of just listening in, just being there, just trying to understand, just trying to see what best we can do as a listener. And the get is the learning the art of building this global community. The way I said, we have these quarterly meets. Even though it's 5 a.m., Jim is here in the morning on Wednesdays in that quarter earlier than me. It's 7 at my place. I'm in Austin, Texas. He's earlier than me, so I really have no excuse that I can come in late. We enjoy this series. And the grow is with the community. The way I see a lot of people here, we have different events and really great people have had really good backgrounds working with a lot of things. People come from IBM. I myself come from IBM. Let me introduce in that sense. So I have earned my master's degree from IIT Madras, and then I work with places like IBM. A lot of places in the Bay Area work, and then in the financial sector, and I also worked recently with Google and the government sector in the US. So it was at IBM that I knew about Jim, and then we met after a couple of years. Although service innovation was not a full-blown field the way in the way Jim and others have brought it at that time, and I did have some papers in which I've written on very little, very basic on service innovation. So I enjoy this series, no matter how small the group is. I really enjoy knowing people here, and you are very welcome. For anything that you wish to know or you need to contribute or you want to come forward, feel free to reach out to me, Michelle or Jim, any one of us. Thank you once again, and I'll pass over the baton to Michael.
Great.
Well, I appreciate your inviting me, all of you, and it's good to be a part of the team. Since I retired several years ago, I'm coming up on my 80th birthday in February.
Oh, wow.
So there's very little background about me on the internet these days. So I'll give you a little background. My career started in the 60s, actually mid 60s, after getting out of the Marine Corps. And I sold medical products and owned a medical products company, and eventually morphed that into a company called Pain Control Network that gave me some independent financial wings, so to speak. I bought a franchise in 1985, which gave me a good knowledge of human resource and workforce development. It was a management recruiter franchise based in New York at that time. Moved to Chicago in 88, actually retired right after 9/11, but didn't stay retired for very long. When I wrote that article in 2010, a lot happened to me from a health standpoint and a personal standpoint, so I've been away. But I did hold on to my service disabled small business sector force, which is inactive but can be activated. When I wrote the article, I had no idea that it would become what it may become now, which was a catalyst to develop a fire under service innovation. So I'll start there to talk about my give. I've developed an awful lot of intellectual property and knowledge in terms of research from a journalistic standpoint in terms of what the power of the pen could do, I believe, to move ISSIP and everything it's trying to do forward. And so I looked at that article and I thought, as I had a conversation with Michele, under the banner of what if we took certain themes from that article, which was overarching digital equity and entrepreneurship, expand entrepreneurship to all sectors, from veteran to social to business to civic, and update the story to real time in terms of where the progression took you, say, 3 years ago, 5 years ago. I know when I wrote the article, I didn't remember hearing the term service innovation. It was service science. Was it manufacturing and engineering back then?
Service
So-
science, management, and engineering.
Management, yes.
Yeah.
So coming close to real time, about 2 years ago, I met with the then Secretary of Education, and he wanted to know how the Education Department could create stronger ties with the philanthropic community, really the funding community. And the consensus was storytelling.
Mhm.
So I put that in the memory bank and started thinking about, okay, how could I use that to give, which is to help this country finally do something about the digital inequities
Right.
that run from the news deserts to the broadband inequities that not very coincidentally run together. So I, about 3 months ago, looked for a company that I could join as a research journalist to begin to put the final touches on what I thought could become a funding development strategy for the nonprofit sector. And then I looked long and hard for organizations that I thought could be the recipient or the beneficiary of that intellectual property. So I want to give it to ISSIP and help support whatever I give in any way that I can, so that what I can get from it is a way to turn around the horrible news deserts that proliferate around the country, to make sure that the BIPOC populations and underserved populations across the board get the digital equity that they deserve, which requires funding. And so, getting granular for just a moment, there's something called BEAD funding, which is broadband funding, which in the prior administration was allocated down to the state level and then frozen because of what this administration thought was an inequity in terms of fiber being favored. So that's now kind of changed a bit, and they're going to release the funding. So that's a leverageable public fund. So what I would like to do is look at ways to leverage that funding against philanthropic funding, which would come through unrestricted funds. And then the private sector funding that I'm earmarking is community reinvestment funding with something called a community benefits agreement. And to bring it home, what I think we can do is create a service system around a community benefit agreement through which a community development program becomes a community development as a service. And I'm just talking as a non-professional, my own lingo. But that's really what I want to give. What I get is the satisfaction for having done something positive. And I'll grow because I'm learning to write. I'm not a journalist. I wrote one article. That's the article. But I have
Good article. I hope everyone reads it. I'll make sure it gets in the postings that we do as well, Mike.
Yeah, and so I've got a network of journalists and organizations that want to get behind the storylines. We're working on advertising. The business expert press that you mentioned may be a way to bring more journalistic ammunition into this process. And again, collaborative and entrepreneurial power of the pen to help grow ISSIP and everything that it stands for.
Very good. Very good. Well, I've got 5 or 6 things I want to circle back on, but let's get Hemant a chance to introduce himself. Thank you, Michael. That's a great introduction.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jim, for giving me this opportunity. So first of all, I would say that I believe being in this forum, I'm in as part of like seasoned professionals. That's how I would put up. I don't know if retire would be the right word out there. Yes, you may have transitioned from your active service. I've served in defense earlier, so that's how I would put it out there. And I don't know, like somehow Vaishali, we and I are connected on LinkedIn. When I saw your name, I saw somewhere, I don't know like how, but let's sync up later. But so could give my quick background. So what motivated me for ISSIP was that I would say until 2012, I was like, if I give my background, so I have bachelor's in electronics and I have done my MBA in marketing and operation strategy, primarily focusing on global organizations, how they operate. Then I did my master's in managing information systems, several different certifications, very passionate about telecom industry. Uh, Again, I would say I've seen the growth of telecom from 2G to where we stand as of now on 5G. Uh, and I would give some credit, or I would a lot of credit to my one of my mentors who kind of helped me differentiate uh, a product and a service. Because sometimes when we go and talk about it, people like just say that, oh, this is a product and this is a service, but there is a clear distinguishing between the two. Um, and now services industry itself, it's very important and something which I would definitely like to resonate about and write about. And in fact, I'm actively writing since last about 10 years. Something, Michael, you mentioned about is that at times it's important to pen your thoughts and see how those translate. So especially on services, when I talk about from a telecom industry perspective, I think we are talking about, everybody's talking about cut the cord, and people are moving towards streaming services and everything. But uh, there are other opportunities also out there in the market where we can support the community. So like metaverse is there, and then you have data, and now that you have fiber and all those things. So there are opportunities out there. There are new services being crafted out there in that area. And now with AI coming into picture, in fact, I was just I think last night I was talking to basically an academia professor out there who was, when we were talking about is AI really, is do we have any real case of AI helping us build up a service which is has generated revenue, or is it more of a cost center? Because it's a ripple effect. So if I need to build up a service on AI, that service needs to run in on certain compute power. That compute power needs all those NVIDIA and all those chips. Those chips needs to get manufactured. That needs a data center. Do we have those kind of compute power and data centers out there? So it's a ripple effect out there. And then um, are there, and then again eventually it's a I would say it's a snowball effect in terms of that, hey, will we create a product, how those services will help, and in case are those services ethical also? So like even organizations are creating chatbots, and those chatbots are now getting engaged with AI, and every organization is looking towards cost saving from that. So how ethical those services are, so that's another angle we need to think through from a service ethics perspective, that hey, end of the day consumer is looking forward to those services, but uh, are we really providing a service, or was just it's a facade out there that okay, hey, we are trying to answer you and this is a chat bot or something out there? So that's about my background, but I would love to contribute wherever and however I can out there. So any questions for me?
Great. Yeah. I just want to make sure I got your correct LinkedIn. I put it in the chat. So if you could just double check, and it would be great if we could get connected on
That's
LinkedIn.
correct. That's correct.
Yeah, I put Michael's in there as well. And I think Michael, you and I are already connected, but
Yes.
just addressing that last point you made, Hemant, Haluk Demirkin he's a founding board member like me. He's been with ISSIP since the beginning. He's now at Amazon. He's also a university professor at University of Washington, Tacoma. And he just did a very nice presentation that's uploaded to the ISSIP YouTube about AI and it's a generative AI framework for ethical use of AI. And
Mm-hmm.
he said a lot of people have what, and so his talk was about how, and it was really quite interesting. And it's recorded; it's uploaded to the ISIP YouTube. But Haluk Demirkin is somebody else who you might want to connect with in the ISIP community, and he is our incoming president for next year. So,
Oh, nice.
so he's a board member and a president, and he and I have written many books together on the topic of service science and articles together about service science and talent. So he would be a good person, I think, for you, Hemant, to get in touch with.
Absolutely. If you can drop those names. Sorry, I'm very bad
Yeah.
with names, but that would be, I can take a call, because I recently published a paper. It should it like I it's the article is published. My scholarly paper is under review and everything.
Mhm.
But I just created a framework. I kind of christened as DICE, data integrated campaign enablement. Basically, what does is that a lot of organizations create a lot of services like, hey, I create a new campaign, and I'm not launching a campaign, let's say giving as simple as iPhone 17 for $1,000 device for a $500. But what's happening in the industry as of now is there is a lot of manual work. Even we talk about automation and everything out there. So my intent was that, okay, where I can use agentic and generative AI, and I can have much more, I would say, next gen service getting created where I'm saving cost for the organization from a promotional cost perspective. That, hey, I'm spending uh, whatever my operational budget is in terms of reaching out to this, let's say 1,000 customers is my break even point, but eventually I need to get to those customers within the time frame that I have. And if I'm not, then I should be knowing well in advance. So now that I have AI out there, and earlier I used to just have data analytics where I could churn data, but now can I use AI to basically help propose an AI giving me, letting me that, hey, Hemant, there's no point continuing with this campaign, kill this campaign, or hey, this is something which you can do is push more through SMS to these type of customers in a Phoenix market, or depending upon which market it is. So those are kind of frameworks I'm looking forward to kind of share. Again, nothing licensed, it's free to use. That's what I'm working on. Yeah.
Great. So do I have the correct LinkedIn URL in the chat? Could you check that, Hemant?
That's correct. Hemant Soni, Atlanta. That's why I put it that way, that, okay, it's anyone looks into, I'm based out of Atlanta, so you can catch it.
Okay. Okay. Very good. Yeah, I'd love to connect with you and follow up and help with any introductions. Circling back, Michael, to what you were talking about, there's like three different directions. I guess they're questions that I have for you. One is these local community service systems. Do you think that is there a course that you have in mind? Would that be part of it? Training people in these service systems, these local communities?
Yeah, absolutely. I sent Michele a bit of an overture earlier about looking at the T-shaped skills development model
Okay.
and the My Team platform. I looked at that,
Okay.
and very interested in the university industry development partnership ecosystem.
Yeah.
Workforce development is one of the spokes in the wheel, so to speak. My background, I spent 10 years with the National Association of Workforce Boards as a funding advisor. So I learned a bit about the system. It's a bit different now, but
Yeah.
I don't know if anyone on the call here knows about the public workforce development system.
No.
There are 580 bricks and mortar public workforce system offices where job seekers and students go to look for work, get trained for work. And I've always believed that it was a best kept secret in Workforce America. And I'd like to at least explore the feasibility of getting some of the intended beneficiaries of the public workforce system to have a chance to look at T-shaped skills development and move into roles that could be public interest technology entrepreneurs, journalist entrepreneurs, service system engineers, social or software engineers, whatever the need be.
Yeah.
They're thought of as Joe and Joanne average in too many circles. Yet there's a huge amount of latent and sometimes existing talent in those populations. So long-winded answer, yes, definitely training programs, like to tap into what is available through ISSIP and partners, and then others that we can talk about.
Yeah. Good. I put the wrong URL there, but is this the Workforce Development Solutions at Department of Labor? Is that it?
It would be the Employment and Training Administration,
Okay.
U.S. Department of Labor. And just as the nonprofit sector, severe funding cuts.
Right.
I should mention too that, as you may know, the philanthropic community is undergoing a transformation unto itself. it sees more of a need than ever to be supportive of the education, nonprofit, social sector.
Yeah.
And so I'm envisioning this funding strategy to develop a social services ecosystem, if you will, that can operate within that philanthropic ecosystem when appropriate, meaning draw funding for support and parallel each other in their growth and sustainability.
Yeah, the thing that might connect my current interest with what you're describing, Michael, and actually what Hemant is also describing is um, ISIP is kind of a nice little petri dish, if you will, because we have, you know, 2,000 people around the world who participate in the community. Probably, I would say, of those 2,000, maybe there's like 100 that are the most active, right? Our ambassadors and others. And then there's like, 10 of us that are super active. But so it's kind of like 2,000, 110, kind of a structure there. And if you look at our ISIP handbook, um, it's well, let me just share my screen and show you. ISIP is a very simple organization. We don't try to do everything, but we try to support a platform that enables others. And I'm thinking, if you think of like AI transformation of a big company like IBM or Capgemini or even these big government agencies, they're huge. But ISIP is very relatively small. If you go out here, here's our ISIP handbook. This is the whole handbook, and it describes ISIP. It talks about the nonprofit part. It talks about our community of practice and all our programs that are basically tied to an annual calendar, and then the platforms we use, which are, the website and LinkedIn and YouTube and Slack and so forth, and our credentials. So very, very simple. And um, what we have been doing to get things done. Sorry, did somebody want to raise their hand? Oh, sorry. Um, what we've been doing to get things done is usually we do things through the AI Collab, where we have it could be an industry person collaborating with a student team to build things. And so, for example, here's an example of where we asked student teams at a couple different universities. These are the students, and they all get a digital ISIP DC. That's the digital certification. These are their LinkedIn. There's some of the students from Penn State University, and they're given a project that they develop over a 12-week period. This one was to develop an ISIP onboarding course. So, and for the ones that are local, we take them to the Computer History Museum for a nice little celebration. But what we do when we do these programs is we kind of get a white paper and a rough sketch of a service system. Um, but then you could start building on that foundation, right? Because the student team explores the space for us, puts a little bit in place, and then we can, if we find a partner who wants to go in and do something, they can build on that foundation. But I think this might be an interesting model to explore, because to the degree that we can get ISIP using AI effectively, enabling our volunteers, enabling our programs. Um, Even some of the stuff that Vaishali does on these quarterly welcomes, we might be able to help provide, scaffolding that makes it easier and automates various things, or augments, the people as well. So that might be something to think about, because ISIP is such a nice little, it's a small world here in ISIP. We're not big and complicated. We're kind of small. And if we could do it as a nonprofit, then that becomes a model for other community services, or smaller groups inside big companies could look at the model, what we did with ISIP, and maybe they could replicate it in our department. So I'll put this link into the chat as well for you all to take a look at if you get a chance, if that's interesting to you. So was that what you had in mind, Michael, when you talked about the collab stuff, is trying to do something with students to spin up a mini version of what you're thinking about?
Yeah, well, recently I watched your interview talking about digital twins,
Oh, yeah.
and you said something like, imagine if instead of having 1 hour, you had 1,000 hours. That's fundable.
Yeah, yeah.
And so that's really, there was no AI when I wrote the article. The iPhone was 3 years old, I think.
Yeah.
Broadband was nowhere near where it is now. So
Yeah.
getting back to the fundamental strategy is to really light a fire under what you have been doing and continue to do and want to do, and make sure that it's packaged in a way that the funding community sees it.
Mm.
And I know that there is I'm confident in saying there's a lot of consulting opportunities to generate revenue. When you mention member supported or totally member supported, I'm assuming that there are up to now no grants being written, no unrestricted funds being competed for. Is that accurate?
Well, no, we have won several NSF awards in the past.
Oh, okay.
In fact, if you go to the news, I just wrote this blog post. It's kind of funny you're asking that question, because I just wrote this gratitude blog post where I talk about the the first 10 years. You can see we had like National Science Foundation, I think, was our fourth largest funder because we were doing projects for the National Science Foundation. Where is it here? Yeah, right there. Third largest funder was the National Science Foundation. So we have done grants in the past. We because we're all volunteer, though, it somebody has to be the leader. And in this case, it was Yassi Mogadam, who was our executive director before Michele. She took on the responsibility of like lining up all the faculty, putting in the proposal to the NSF, running it, project managing it, making sure industry people were there on the skills part, university people. So it was a lot of work, and Yassi did that. And then just a few years ago, Yassi transitioned to the University of Santa Cruz, Silicon Valley, as their executive director for human computer interaction. So she and I remember her saying at one point, "Hey, I'd like to write a book." And so she's written 2 books now in our Business Expert Press series about T-shaped people. So we have done a little bit of this grant stuff, but I would say it's not like me. It's like particular people in the community that really get motivated to do that, and that's wonderful when people do that. Basically, everything happens because there's a leader who builds the team and gets it done, right? And we just provide, a network of people, some platforms, some meeting infrastructure, encouragement, um, and and that's what we're able to provide
Mhm.
in our annual calendar. We also do these. We have uh, this treasure hunt coming up where people will be able to provide ideas for programs they would like to start. So, Michael, I hope you participate in that. We have uh, an annual excellence award. We give out best paper awards at some of the conferences. Um, this guy is coming up with a fantastic blog post soon on global education system and collaboration in global education that I think you'll find interesting. And what else do we have here? The I'm looking for here it is right here. So every year we give out an excellence award. This year our big winner was growing people and economies at scale and speed. I don't know if you saw this, Michael, but this is Smart Bio. Frank Mellis is their CEO and founder. And this is the team of people working on this. But this is all about regional economic development. And they got a platform. And they've got projects going in multiple places, including Africa, a big project in Africa. And then we have a impact on business, service innovation, impact on society. This is Curious Learning. It's kind of an MIT nonprofit spin out to help with global literacy. Tinsley just came out with his book in the service in our Business Expert Press series. But that's kind of how we do things is we help connect people with other people who can build these projects, and then we give out awards and recognition, and we have an annual calendar. So we kind of like have been doing this now for over 10 years, this annual cycle of giving awards and enabling people to push forward their projects. A lot of times people start their project by just writing a blog post that gets published here describing, hey, I would like to do this. Would you like to join my project? So that's another thing, both Michael and Hemant, you might want to consider is just is just writing a blog post about your project that you'd like to get going. I'm looking for a good example of that. Where somebody wrote one here.
Well, the Smart Bio was included in the brief that I sent Michele.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because I did some research on them. So a question about Smart Bio and the MyTeamMe platform. Would they either or both lend themselves to somehow being not necessarily technologically aligned, but aligned somehow with human capital management systems? Part of what we're doing from the journalistic side is taking the data that appears in human capital management technology applications, reports, and succession planning, onboarding, learning management, and converting that data into stories, solution stories that talk about what the nonprofit or the education institution did and the impact that it had on the community. So we're looking at human capital management technology, and could we parlay Smart Bio and those applications and MyTeamMe and that platform into a technology stack that would drive forward everything from AI to entrepreneurship, journalism, and everything in between.
Yeah, you should definitely connect with Professor Lou Freund. He's the leader of this. He's also an ISSIP fellow, by the way, and he's emeritus at San Jose State University. But yeah, this is the platform. You can like upload, your resumes and stuff like that. And let's see where the dashboard kind of shows you where you are relative to other people in the community. And there's various charts, but and people can work on their profile and upload, things about what they've done with, critical thinking, communication. But yeah, this is and this will be open source. This is going to be an open source project, and there's several universities that are signing up to use it to do research on T-shaped professionals. And yeah, definitely Professor Freund is. I'll put his LinkedIn into the chat as well. Just send people connection. When you send people a connection, say, "Hey, I'm part of ISSIP too." Jim Spohrer said we should connect, or just connect, and that's definitely a platform that you could leverage. And Smart Bio, that's more of a for-profit effort, but they've got EU funding and regional economic development funding. So yeah, I would say connect with Frank Mellis and Lou Freund to follow up, Michael, on some of these things.
Yeah, I know Lou Freund is with San Jose State. I spoke with the University of Michigan yesterday. Public interest technology people there, data science people, and San Jose State and U of Michigan are both members of the Public Interest Technology University Network. Do you happen to know whether San Jose State is collaborating directly with the University of Michigan? I'm just trying to connect potential funding dots.
I don't know. Professor Freund would know. Lou would know.
Okay.
I just put his LinkedIn in there. He would know if there's anything in the industrial engineering area. That was his primary area. But there's another retired faculty member who helped with service science, Steve Kwan. He's also an ISSIP fellow. He's more management of information systems at San Jose State University. But they would definitely know. And like I say, the best thing to do is just connect with people on LinkedIn and uh, and ping them. And also sometimes it helps if you write a blog post about what you're trying to do, and you know, when you connect with them, they can read the blog post and see if they want to do something. And then we encourage people to, you know, carve out a 30-minute or 1 hour Zoom meeting that we ISSIP would, you know, record for the community
Mhm.
and present. And you know, again, that's the number one reason people join is to build their network to like-minded people. Number two reason is they've got a project and idea that they want to, you know, staff up and get some connections and partnerships going. So yeah, absolutely. You know, these things take time. Nothing happens like overnight,
Yeah.
but we have this track record now after over 10 years of getting some things to really lift off.
I had a question about digital twins.
Yes.
Is there a cost and a recognizable cost factor in developing a digital twin? I'm thinking in terms of people that, like you, who should have a digital twin,
Yeah.
but don't, maybe don't even know about the concept, probably do, but may not, who, if they were part of a confraternity of digital twin advocates, maybe a community of digital twins could be conversing. And I'm wondering if I'm looking at pockets of potential funding that could work toward achieving the whole.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just fascinated because I know so little about AI in general, let alone digital twins. But can a cost factor be put on that?
Yeah, it can be, and depending on who you are, the cost factor can be very, very small. Um, because let me share this. This is a white paper that I'm currently working on with Haluk Demirkan. Again, Hemant, I see your hand up. Haluk is our AI guy at AWS. He's our incoming president, founding board member. He and I have collaborated on books and articles on service science over decades. Um, this is a student at UC Santa Barbara, and he was a high school student, Michael,
Yeah.
when he built open source AI digital twin starter kit. So this is the paper we're working on, and look at the number of startups that we talk about in this paper. Now, obviously, these have a cost associated with them, but some of them,
Yeah.
like HeyGen, have a first baby step that's free. So you can create the first version of your digital twin for free. I also highly recommend this one, Answers from Me. This one has a Scott Zimmer is the CEO. He's presented to some ISSIP meetings, and he is very open to new business model ideas for AI digital twins. But we'll come out with this paper. I can certainly, you know, send you the PDF of it right now.
Please. Yeah.
Let me do that right now. I'll put it in the chat. I'll just download the PDF, and yeah, this is still under development, but let me put that in the chat so you've got that. And Hemant, you've got a question. You got your hand up, so why don't we go to you, and then I'll circle back with Michael on this. Here we go. Right. I can't hear you, Hemant, if you're.
Sorry, I was speaking on mute. I was saying that you can complete your thought, and I can speak about the digital twin part. And I had two questions, but you can go ahead, complete your thought.
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah, let me just see if I can figure out how to use the Zoom chat to put this paper in there. I think if I go here, your computer, I got too many windows open. Open.
On this, are you trying to drop it here, Jim? Yep. Yeah, it's there. Thank you.
Yeah. So I will go ahead and stop sharing. But okay, so Hemant, you said you have to drop soon, or you had a question?
No, I had a question. So, just to add on to what Michael was saying, because I work in the telecom area, and when I think Michael, you just mentioned about digital twin, and I think Jim, you were talking about. I'm just sharing a paper that I wrote. I think couple of weeks back. It got published in Forbes recently. This was centered around in terms of uh, like why I think the digital twin applications, and we should be knowing, and especially from a CTO perspective, when we look into, because again, industry is transitioning from, I would say, 4.0, and we are moving towards industry 5.0. If you would see, that transition is slowly coming in with AI and out there. So just wanted to share that part. And then second intent was that when you mentioned that, in fact, I was chatting with Michael the other day, not Michael, I mean to say Michelle, the other day on we were on a LinkedIn chat, and we were talking about something, Michael, you were just mentioning, is that I, like, again, when I was talking to about ISIP with my organization and my leader, because I come from a practice within Capgemini which is called digital customer experience, and we talk about and we engage with most of our clients in terms of why that experience is critical. Okay, it doesn't matter which space you are from, whether it is you are developing a mobile app, or you're talking about edge computing now coming into, like, hey, we need to bring it much more closer to where the application is. So the thought was that, do we have any particular, like, I do see AI collab and other parts out there. Do we have chapters out there that we like somebody can create and do that? Because that's what I was talking to Michelle, that hey, do we want to, first of all, I know that there are communities on product they talk about, like AI product and other products. But the reason I was fascinated toward ISIP was that I wanted to understand the services industry is very big. And many a times, what I have seen is that uh, people create products, but a lot of products fails because the way it is sold, or the services, the way it is packaged doesn't work. So that's where I was like wanted to like pick your mind and Michael's mind, or Vishali. Again, I'm very pretty new out here, so that how I can basically engage and where I can go. I know that you mentioned about newsletter and other parts as well, but just wanted to share my thoughts on the digital twin part and what more we can do. Jim, you're on mute.
Yeah, that's great, Hemant. I'm going to put this person's name into the Zoom as well. He's an ISIP ambassador who has a whole practice, and they come over to the U.S. He's based in the U.K., but they've come over to the U.S. several times. Tim Baines and his partner, who built the servitization program there, is Ali Bagali, I think, and they have a really nice servitization program, Hemant,
Mm-hmm.
and that would be what I would look at, because they, as product companies try to launch, they realize if they don't get their service offering around whatever they're
Yeah.
offering right, it can fail. So it's very important to get that right. So he would be an ISIP ambassador you could connect with. They have one of the annual conferences, by the way, that we point people at, because they do an annual servitization conference. It's usually
Oh, okay.
in Europe, but yeah, that's what I would point you at. And I'm
I'm just connecting him right now as you were speaking. Before I lose the thought, but yeah, I just connected with him.
okay, good.
Yeah, absolutely. And then I would definitely need to, like, I know that you mentioned about the, like, how you would want to connect about, like, because I'm fascinated about the platform that I've, it's not a platform, but it's a concept that I'm building upon.
Yeah,
And I think, once again, it's not something which is licensed, so it's free to use kind of thing. But the intent is that I just want to share that idea, thought with others, that how and where they can utilize it. Again, I can share an article that I posted, again, if that makes sense, and I
five
can.
game-changing digital twin applications. Is that the one, or is it a different one?
It's a different one. I need to find it out in the
Okay.
interest of time, but it's centered around the same data integrated campaign enablement platform in terms of how doesn't matter. Like I'm just giving a telecom as an example, but how different industries can utilize that kind of framework or thought process in terms of innovating their services using AI. So I know that you talked about AI collab and other parts of that. So probably I will sync up with you on that separately.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Hemant. That sounds good. And I will include your 5 game-changing digital twin applications in the recording when I post it. Because
Sure.
members of the community who sometimes watch these, and you may get a, hey, I watched your recording and would like to connect on that project. So,
Absolutely.
so that would be great. Well, we're just about out of time, but this has been a very productive discussion. Thank you both so much for joining. As Vaishali said, we like it when it's a small group because we actually get a chance to have a nice conversation. Sometimes
Yeah.
have 10 or 20, it's like everybody just says their name and we're on to the next one. So this was really good. Yeah, let's see. Vaishali, I mean, first, well, Michael, any last words for us?
No, I'm anxious to get going. Again, very appreciative for being invited, and let's move this forward.
Hey, Hemant, any last words for our call today?
I think I'm blessed to be part of this community again, thoroughly enriching. And again, the good thing is that I was wondering that why it is scheduled at like say 8:30 in the evening. But I think it all worked because typically I don't get all the pings from work during this time. But yeah, it's encouraging. And Michael, I definitely like let me know if I can work with you in some respect and in terms of learn from you as well. I believe it doesn't like age is not just a number, but I was speaking at a Kennesaw State University the other day, and somebody asked me that, what do you think about the new platforms like Facebook and other things coming up? I said, when I started working in the industry, we had Yahoo Messenger way back in 2000. Then the next version was Orkut that came in 2007 and 8. Then Facebook came, then Instagram came, then Snapchat came. So probably you guys would be the next who would be creating like a TikTok or whatever the version is. So I was just talking to them in terms of how just the platforms from a streaming industry changes. So again, definitely would love to learn from you as well.
Cool.
Likewise, thank you very much.
And Vaishali, any last words for?
I think we're good. Thank you so much for all the inputs from the people, and we enjoyed this session so much.
All right, I'll get it posted tomorrow. Thanks, everyone. Bye for now.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.